good morning, good evening, whatever it is. I'm not sure what it is. Everybody still awake? Need to stand up and do a couple jumping jacks? I don't. I can't do a jumping jack anymore. I tried once and I decided not to ever do it again. Yes, we can all sing the national anthem. Would you please rise as Rob Hale sings the national anthem? No, we won't do that. Listen, we appreciate you being with us again this year. Really good situation we find ourselves in at the beginning. Rob's already mentioned it. We've got a lot of new drivers coming on board. We lost very few drivers that we had already, and it makes for a really good situation as far as routing, as far as knowing your students, your parents, and all the situations that we have going forward. So we're glad you came back. I want to thank you for the job you did last year. Give yourself a hand for what you did last year. You deserve it. You guys did a great job, and it's not a perfect thing that we do every single day. We try to do our best. We try to do our job. You try to do your job, and we entrust you with that. We trust that you're going to do your job, that you're going to, follow all these procedures and all these things that we've been talking about and do what we need to do as far as bus drivers to keep our kids safe, to keep the environment on the inside of the bus good and everything else. On a little bit of a house cleaning note and talking about just our paperwork and things that we're doing, I really appreciate everyone who has, especially last year it was really good, made me aware of any absence that you were going to have ahead of time. We've got a lot of drivers now that we're going to be able to place at each school. And as soon as you know you're going to be absent, if you can turn in that absentee sheet along with the absentee card, it helps me like you can't imagine, because I'm able to put that in, I'm able to schedule it, I'm able to get it covered, and you guys did a great job at that last year, and I surely appreciate it because it just makes things run smoother. It really helps us in ways you can't imagine. Appreciate everyone getting their timesheets turned in on time. We get a lot of calls from payroll. Last year we had Miss Black here with us who does our payroll. We get a lot of calls from payroll about where's this timesheet, where's that card, where's this, where's that. If you can just, be attentive to your paperwork, your pre-trips, your timesheets, and we're doing a good job. I just wanted to continue this year. Don't let down. And recording your time correctly. If you've got a question, please let me know, and I'll answer everything that I can. If I don't know, I'll find you the answer. But we appreciate, that so much. With that being said about paperwork, Brittany out there has a staff emergency card. Your timesheet has already been pre-filled out for this week. Again, it's Friday, so what happens on Fridays? Timesheets are due, right? So by the end of the day, but we've got them out there for you. All you got to do is put your John Henry on it, and you can get, your timesheet will be taken care of for this week. Time's already been filled out. Also, there is a driver handbook acknowledgement form that you need to sign, and please make sure that you fill that out, sign it, and we make it a part of your record going forward. Also, we've got all of your forms that you need for the upcoming year ready at the bus garage. They're in the little room where the pop machine and vending machine's at there. It's in the window. All the forms are ready to go, along with seating charts and all of those things that you need to get started. Again, I'll reiterate one more time, we're not going to be doing emergency cards and of any kind. We're not doing the white emergency cards or the blue emergency cards. The schools have the yellow alternate stop cards for us. They fill them out at the school. The principal signs them, and then they send me a copy of that. So if you have an alternate stop on your route, I'm supposed to have a record of that in my office. So if you've got a question about a stop or a kid's needing to be let off somewhere else, you should have a copy of that, and they usually send me a copy. If you don't have a copy of it, come see me, and we will get you one, okay? So the only thing is those yellow cards, which you shouldn't have to hand out or deal with because that is a principal signature. So when you go to the bus garage and you pick up your paperwork, there is also a new bus rules thing that goes on your header. It's magnetic, goes up on the top of your header right there. You can just slap it up there. The bus rules have been changed. We changed it to pretty much everything we're getting write-ups on, okay, on a regular basis. Stay in your seat, not being loud, don't distract the driver, on and on. You can look at that, and hopefully it will help you. I would encourage you to do this. These bus rules have been sent out to each school, and the school is putting those in the packets, okay? And so if you could, when you start out the year, and maybe after next week, you'll have 2 days next week, Thursday and Friday with kids, maybe starting out the Monday of next week, go ahead and have a conversation with your students when you roll up into the school in the morning. Talk to them about the bus rules, show them where it's at, refer to it, and use that to your advantage so that you can help kids follow the rules and do what they're supposed to be doing. But we do have those. Also, there is a laminated magnet emergency codes thing there for you that you can put there at your side. You can put it right here where you drive. You can stick that to the side. It's magnetic so that you can pull it off and look at it. So if you have an emergency or something, you can grab that codes, look at it, and use those codes for any kind of emergency. Thankfully, we don't have too many issues other than a 403 that we have to use codes for. So, we're fortunate in that respect. Sometimes we do. I don't remember them either, so don't feel bad if you haven't memorized those, because I know a few of them, but not many. But please, use that to your advantage. Again, if you're going to take an absence, please turn in your absentee form and your sick card if you would. The next thing I want to say is this, and let me talk about something that's on everybody's mind right now. Dave, if you could pull up the middle school, high school ramp here for us. I want to discuss this just for a moment. So this is the ramp as we've been instructed, to create it, to put them together. And basically, there's a thought and a process to this to make this work. First and foremost, did everybody pick up their ramps? Your bus ramps are out there on the table. If you have that bus ramp, you might want to go ahead and pull it out. If you've got your South Middle ramp, if you drive at South Middle, pull that out and look at it with me just a moment. On the back, there is a schedule. And what we had to do to make this work, we had to break this up. We had to do 2:30 to 2:45 for all middle school buses, which are first on the ramp. On the left-hand side over there, that's all middle school buses. 2:30 to 2:45, we want you there so that we can get the rest of the ramp in order. Now, you're going to have to work with each other, okay? You're going to have to notice how the buses are arranged, what your parking spot is, and you're going to have to work with each other to get these in there. You may have to pull over to the side, let somebody in front of you. You're pretty good about doing that anyway. But please, just be aware of those around you. Some people have work schedules. They can't get there exactly when they need to be. But we've got a 15-minute window that should get everybody in. Again, especially middle school buses. If you are late, you will not be able to get into this ramp, obviously, right? So you've got the late bus area where you will line up, call in, let us know that you're late. Say, hey, Lib 05, I'm late. I'm going to be pulling into the late bus area so that we can get the principals will hear that, and we can get the students where they need to be, and they'll give us further instruction about where the students should go. Now, if you notice something different about the ramp also, one thing that you'll notice, if you look at the bus numbers on your ramp, probably better to look at your paper, it's not left and right, it's both sides. So you got 4 Hunter Hills buses in the front. You've got 2 Kiwi buses left and right behind them. Then it goes on from there. So how this should work is this. So we've done this on purpose because it was really difficult to line up one side and try to get them all out, and then line up the other side and try to get them all out. It just was not going to work that way. So basically what needs to happen is the outside part of the ramp, and let me try to point it out here. This part right here should be the first bus that goes, and then the inside. So you got Hunter Hills, 1104 would go, 2005 would go, 1106 would go, 1105 would go, 1406 goes, 1401 goes, okay? You see how that works? Outside, inside, outside, inside. So as you pull out, you're going to be single file going out of South Middle, And if you go to the right, obviously you go to the right. If you go to the left, you'll go to the left, all right? It's kind of going to be single file as we're pulling out of there. So it's going to be watching each other, slow down, take your time. Remember what, safety first, schedule second. The biggest thing that's going to happen here is going to mess us up is when everybody gets in a hurry. Starting out, you just forget it. The radio and everything. As a matter of fact, we're just going to reserve the radio for South Middle. No, it's not. We're believing this is going to work well because you're going to be able to handle it. You can do it. You're seasoned bus drivers. Most of you are. And we can do this. It's change. Nobody likes change, right? Who likes change here? I don't like change. The older I get, the less I like change. But this was the necessary thing that was, kind of thrust upon everyone. But we need to do it for safety's sake. So that makes sense on the left-right, correct? You're going to go right hand first, outside, inside, outside, inside. So just work with each other as you go out. There is a cushion that has been created up here at the top of the ramp. If you'll notice up there, there's a space there. That space is intentionally left there. The middle school does not want any kind of mixing in between high school and middle school students. The high school students are going to exit the building over here, okay, in this area, on that right there where he's pointing. So they're going to exit the building there. Those 4 sidewalks are going to be where they're exiting. So those high school students will be coming out the back of the building, and the middle school students will be coming out the normal door, but they're going to walk down that sidewalk and stay on that side. You're going to have principals posted at the front. You're going to have them on both sides of the buses and in the middle. Okay, they're not principals, not that many principals. There's going to be teachers out there that are going to be doing bus duty. They're looking down the middle of the buses. They're looking on the outside of the buses. And we're going to have to listen very intently on this ramp for an all clear. We're going to have to do an all clear on the middle school. We're going to all clear on the high school. It's very, very important that you do that. This is new to the students as well. Just remember, it's not just new to us, it's new to the students. So they're going to have to get into a groove. They're going to have to figure out where their bus is at. So we're all just going to have to just get it in your mind when you pull in down there and you finally get lined up that first day, just take the pressure off. Nobody's putting any pressure on you whatsoever to get out of there quick, okay? We're going to get out of there safe, okay? That's the biggest thing. It is going to be a little tighter than what you're normally used to because we are double stacked in this ramp, right? So what are you going to have to watch when you're going around people? Look at your mirrors. Watch your rear swing, We would like you to, within reason, get as tight to each other as you can, but I wouldn't go any closer than half a bus, or maybe just a little closer. 10 foot at least. Well, think about your cross. We're not going to we're going to deactivate our crossing our crossing gates, okay? So, yeah. So you still will use your big reds, your big yellows, as we just learned how to do. You're going to cancel your cross arm, okay? So you don't hit the bus in front of you and get stuck. When I first started driving, that was a problem. I'd get the crossing arm stuck in between me and the other bus, and I thought, now what am I going to do? So you got to wait for the other bus to go, right? Anyway, so you get that fixed. So please note your deadlines. Middle school, 2:30 to 2:45, 2:45 to 3 for the high school. Told you how to leave the ramp. Now, here's the other thing about it. If you don't leave the way this ramp is designed, if you don't do outside, inside, you know what I mean by that, right? I'm calling this outside, this bus here outside, that one inside, right? So it's outside, inside. If you don't leave that way, it's going to mess your lineup at the elementary school. Your elementary school lineup will not be right if you don't leave it that way for high and middle, okay? So please, follow that as you leave out. That way when you get to elementary school, the lineup will be like it needs to be, okay? You got anything you want to add to that? Oh, yeah. Okay, so in the mornings, what's going to happen is Larry Finley is our day treatment bus there. You see there in the back. Let me talk about the afternoons first. Afternoons, CFI buses, you see where you line up and you see where the day treatment bus is. That's the only way that'll work, is to get those in there last. So if you are a late bus, you'll have to realize those day treatment buses and CFI buses may come around you, okay? All right, so it's going to mess the lineup a little bit because it just depends on how it all works. We'll see. Now in the mornings, what's going to happen is you see this new white line right here, where they come out, where you pull down here, right here, this white line. Larry Finley is going to be parked there at that white line. So what you'll do is you'll drop off high school students, you'll drop off your middle school students. I've got something else to say too. Drop off your high school students, middle school students. Then you're going to come on around and drop off your day treatments down here at the white line where Larry Finley is going to be parked, okay? He'll be on the inside. Okay? He'll be on the inside of the loop. You'll be on the outside. You'll just park even with the bus, let your day treatment student off, when it's safe. Now, the other change that we have, and I think I've marked it on all the elementary bus ramps, is that we will not be doing transfers in the mornings, okay? So in the mornings, you're going to hold on to your home students for your transfers, okay? So we're just going to dismiss elementary. That'll be it. Then you roll on to the high school and middle school because we can. We're both going to the same spot. There's no sense in doing transfers and taking that time. We should be able to roll a lot quicker. That's for the south side only, south middle and south high. So it's only south side only that we're doing that. We're not doing that for everyone, okay? So just be aware of that. Okay, any questions? Yeah, that's what I figured. Go ahead, Jason. Correct. Yep. Good. Let's do high school, then middle school. Drop your high school off, then your middle schools. Right. Gotcha. Okay, is that from Kid? That's what kids decided? Okay, so you hear what Jason's saying right here. See this big sidewalk here, South Hires? That's the only place you should be able to drop off a student is on the big sidewalk right there. Okay? We hadn't heard that, so thank you, Jason. Willow. The school will take care of that. The school will tell us what to do. They will probably be up here where they come out normally. Don't know. Could be down there, but more than likely they're going to be at that door.
What we'll do on those late bus pickups, because of what she brought up, was the mixing of students. You're going to be the last one to load. Those late buses will obviously be the last one to load. You will stop at the high school. They'll have your high schoolers assembled for your bus. You'll pick those up, swing around, and do the same for the middle school. That's it. Won't have both. Okay, so whichever. They will hold your students. We're not going to walk students from the middle school or high school all the way down that ramp to load back there at the end. You're going to load last, and you will load at the ramp wherever you're hauling out of, if it's middle or high, whichever.
Okay, good questions. Okay, Craig. Okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, London will be the exception. So there are going to be a couple of exceptions like that. So So if you've got a north bus that's going to a north transfer, those south students that will normally come to your bus would come to your bus. Does that make sense? So, right, I know, yeah, and I failed to mention about London. Yes, London's going to be the exception. We'll still have split transfers there as we need them. Right. Yes, because that's the only way that's going to work. There was another one too, and I can't remember right now what it was I was dealing with on that same thing. We had to make, I'm sure I'll hear about it because you'll bring it up and we'll figure it out. But there was another one just like that. Maybe in London I was thinking about. But yeah, those transfers will still have to work as normal. So basically, and I think I left, I'm not sure. It doesn't matter because we got some south buses, some north buses, but we're London, we got split routes, several of them. It just won't work that way. So we'll just do that as normal. Yeah, at London, it's the way to work. Go ahead, Brian. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. That's it right there. So the teacher buses will do boy-girl. Like at Kiwi, we got a teacher. Her boys will get on the boys' buses, middle or high, or girls will get on the girls' buses, middle or high. See what I'm saying? Just like before. Well, it is at Kiwi. Well, we got Steve King, so yeah, same thing for him. It'll basically be boys and girls. Same thing at Wine Pine. Huh? Not in the mornings anymore. In the mornings, what he's talking about. Yeah, they'll just go to their boy-girl buses. But we have to because their teachers are not going. So what's going to happen? Listen, hold on, listen. So what's going to happen is 10:03 is going to dismiss the elementaries. Everybody dismiss the elementaries. He's got high school girls. They're going to go to the high school girls bus. He's got high school boys. They're going to go to the high school boys bus. Middle school, same way. In the mornings. Off 10:03. Well, some of them, not all of them, though. We have to because they don't go to the middle school.
Unless we're going to use Wine Pine and not do anything different, because.
But then it confuses it all.
Well, not with designated bus.
But what I'm saying is all you got to do is transfer. Here's what we're going to do, okay? Look, we're going to table that. We'll come back to it. Robert's Rules. Come on, Jason, help me here. We're going to have to go to Robert's Rules here to get this done. Okay. Blocking lane? They're all blocked. Right. So those teachers come out very last minute. That's where I said you're going to have to coordinate. It's not all been figured out for you. You're going to have to coordinate a little bit and, use judgment as you do this. Here.
Listen, it's just like I said yesterday, okay? All we got to do is get 28 people on time 174 days in a row. Listen, it's not that big a deal, right? Okay. So it's yes, I know it's gonna be challenging, no doubt. And it's gonna be a work in process. We may have to put a bus that's on the inside lane to the outside lane. So just let us communicate. Let us see what's going to work, what's not going to work, and we'll get it fine-tuned to where it works best for us. So, but just remember, just 28 people on time to work every day for 174 days in a row.
That's it. There you go. It's as simple as that. Okay, hang on a second. Let me clear this up. Okay, it's in my mind. I can't get it out my mouth. That's the problem. Okay, for Wine Pine, let me talk about Wine Pine and any other bus where you have a teacher bus that's going to do transfers. Use your afternoon designations to allow those students to come off that teacher bus to your bus. So, Brian, you've got girls now, right? Okay, so you're going to take Steve's middle school girls in the AM. No, middle school girls. Debbie will take middle school boys. The high school designations in the mornings from Steve's bus, that's where they will go for the afternoon. Use your afternoon designations for any bus that has to transfer. Does that make sense? For London as well, Keavy as well. That's how it was designed. So now does that make sense? So in the mornings, if you have a teacher bus at your school that has to transfer, your afternoon designations will be where those students go. There we go. It come out my mouth now. Thank you, Rob. Now, all right, let me try to move on. I don't know what time it is here. How much time? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure I want to answer that question. Okay, Rob said yes. Yeah, I pointed it out. These are the ones that go first. Then this one. This one. Oh, okay. Same thing. Outside, inside. They'll just go. See, let me say it this way. 1603 will go. Okay, 1405 will go. Where those buses go? Keavy. 1601 will go. 1505 will follow. I'll fix it. Yeah, if there's a mistake, I'll fix it. That's what I do. I make mistakes and then I fix them. That's what I do. I will fix it. If that's the case, because I've had to do a lot of thinking and I just ain't got the capacity. I just don't have it. All right? If there's a mistake that you find, everybody listen up just a sec. Hey, everybody listen up for me, please. I know we're getting long here. Hang on just a second. I need to make this statement. So if you find a mistake on the ramp, bus number, whatever it is, just come to me and I'll fix it, okay? We're going to make this work. I have made mistakes in the past. I expect I'll make them in the future. Lavina. Uh-huh. Your home on your bus, your home students will stay on your bus in the mornings. No, you won't transfer any middle or high in the morning. Yep. Yep. 1402, Taylor Maggard, her students will come to your bus, high school girls, off Taylor Maggard's bus. They'll, yes, yeah. Use your afternoon designations for any drop-offs. You know, anything coming off 1402 at Keavy. Does that make sense? We'll just work this out, guys. Y'all, we'll just work together and we'll get this. It's a definite change, but we can do it. I'm confident we can do it. Now, just expect problems, issues. I'll fix everything I can to make it as smooth as I can before we start. We've got 3 more days to work on this, so just let's work together and work the problem, and we'll get her done, okay? Thank you all. I guess we're good with that one. Let me move on to something that I want to talk about student management. I want to talk about write-ups a little bit, cameras, you know, the issues that you're having actually on your buses with all of these things, okay? So Any more questions about this? Is there anything we need to discuss further on these ramps right here? Let me just make sure everybody's asked the questions they want to ask. Okay. All right. So what I want to say is this. You know, you're the bus driver on the bus. You're the leader. I always look at bus drivers as leaders. And you are the one who sets the culture on the bus, not the kids. Okay? You know that. Those of you who have driven, you know that. You decide how your bus is going to be, not the kids. Okay? And the only way that you can do that, and what is a culture? It's a way of doing things, it's beliefs, it's, history, it's all kinds of things that go on to make up a culture. You have a culture on your bus. You're the leader of that bus, so the leader sets the culture. The leader sets the tone for the atmosphere on your bus. Now, how do you do that? The way that you do that as a leader and as a bus driver, you have to communicate. You've got to talk to these kids. That's what Tyler was talking about. You cannot just grab a hold of the wheel, look through the windshield, and hope for the best. Because you know what you're doing? You're abdicating your leadership. You're giving it up. Who are you giving your leadership to? The students. Now, what are they going to do with that leadership? Whether you know or not, whether you know it or not, you've got leaders on your bus that are students. Did you know that? And they identify themselves every single day. They either lead for good or they lead for bad behavior. Good or bad behavior, they go one or the way or the other. And usually it's the bad ones that show up first, correct? Right? All right. And I say bad in the sense of behavior. We don't have bad or good kids. We've got good kids, okay? I believe that. I'm talking in the sense of behavior. So as a leader, what do? I communicate. I state the rules. I state them often. I don't change. It's not wrong today and not wrong tomorrow. I'm in a good mood today. Y'all do what you want to. And then you get on the bus in a bad mood because you've not had your coffee and, you fought with your dog and your dog bit you, and this happens to Levina all the time. But anyway, she gets bit and she gets on, No, it don't work that way. You got to be the same every single day. The rules don't change. They stay the same. If it's wrong today, it's wrong tomorrow. And you have to stick by that. And does it take effort? Yes. You may have to pull the bus over and stop it and have a discussion with them. Guys, listen. So you determine what happens on your bus and how your bus is led. It kicks in tremendously when we start talking about write-ups and what's going to happen past then. Because if you've told them, hey, this is the third time I've told this entire bus that you all have to sit down while I'm driving. Third time. The next time I see you up, you're written up. Don't say that and not do it. Do it. Write them up. Okay? Stick to your guns. You don't have to yell necessarily. Everybody's got a bus driver voice. We could have a lot of fun right now, and if everybody used their bus driver voice right now, couldn't we? It'd be pretty loud in here if we did that, right? Because you'd be trying to get their attention. It's all right to get their attention, but you don't have to yell at them. Treat them like people. Give them the respect that all people deserve, okay? Do that. Now, once you've done that, you expect that back, right? I expect respect just like I've respected you. I want you to respect me, okay? You've got some kids that they're just not going to comply. They've decided they know how to. Everybody's got buttons in here, right? You know what a button is? It's things that kids like to push. So if you've got, if you're intolerant of something, I'm not going to name things because it'll affect somebody adversely. But if you're intolerant of something and that kid finds that out and all it does is irritate you, and that kid knows he's irritating you, guess what they're going to do? You showed them your button, and they're going to find that button, and they're going to push that thing. So best thing to do, just maintain your composure. Be the adult. Okay, I need you to stop. Johnny won't sit down. Johnny, I need you to sit down. Johnny won't sit down. Johnny, I need you to stop. And notice I'm using a name. Okay, names are very powerful. Johnny, this is the third time. Sit in your seat. Johnny won't sit down. So here's what we have sometimes happen. Bus driver's mad at that point, stops the bus somewhere in a safe manner, We're still using the safety here, but then goes back and just yells at Johnny and wants to grab a hold of him and, just, Johnny, and, try to get him up front, right? That's what, but you know what the best thing to do is let Johnny do what he wants to do until you get to school, until you get back to my office. Come in my office. I'm telling you, Marshall, that Johnny, he's about to blow my mind. I cannot handle this kid. He's driving me nuts. Do that all you want to in my office. You come in and just let it go, baby. Let it flop. You know what I'm saying? Just let it roll. Hey, I'm so upset I don't know what to do. And you know what I'm going to tell you to do? I get it. I remember. Give me a write-up. Okay? Or a warning. Warnings are great to use too, but I'm just saying, I'm just giving you some scenarios on how to do these things. You do not have to make a student comply. The only thing that we need to do is make sure that other students are safe, that the environment on your bus is as comfortable as you can make it as a leader, and then if they're causing harm to somebody, if there's a fight, if there's things like that going on, you got to stop that, okay? You got to get involved and you stop it. But you cannot just grab a hold of the wheel and hope for the best when you drive a bus. You've got to be communicating to your students. You've got to work with them. You've got to say it daily. You've got to tell them 15 times. I know, you got to do it. It's hard to do, but I'm telling you, if you'll communicate to them and do it in an adult manner, a professional manner, write them up, they will respect them write-ups. If you tell them third time on my bus, 3 chances all you get. You're going to be written up. If I've warned you on paper, if I've warned you verbally even more than that, then I'm going to write you up. And then it's up to our principals as to how that's dealt with that. And we have to work with our principals as well. They have a lot of things that they are restrained by and things that they have to do that we don't see. So Rob is very good to contact our principals. Usually if we have a really bad problem, I'll tell Rob. Rob will contact the principals. They'll have a discussion, and we'll do our best to get it taken care of. Because our job right here is to support you. Is to give you what you need to do your job and make sure that everybody that should be accountable is held accountable according to the kids, even including the kids is what I'm trying to say. So, that's what we're here to do is try to support you. So,
Along to support what Marshall's saying, and you may have picked up on it when Mr. McWhorter was talking, they want to see what we have done in order to get to a point where they can issue some type of correction. If you remember from yesterday, this restorative conference is going to come into play here, okay? So I warned the child verbally. I sent a warning, and I know we use these warnings typically for 1st through 3rd. And then we start having higher expectations for 4th and 5th graders and on up. But we're going to have to show a pattern that we have tried to intervene some other way before we get to the point that Marshall's talking about, where I'm calling a principal saying, all right, here's what we've done with no success. We're going to have to go to a little more drastic measures. So just help us to help you. Do your documentation. Make sure you're taking those steps. Don't, as Marshall was saying and did it very well, don't make a bad situation worse on your bus. Don't escalate that situation. And I'll say it again, just to drive it home. We do not have to make a child comply. Matter of fact, we can't physically make a child do anything. Now, in the case of safety, that's a different issue. If it's a fight, there's an endangerment to students, then we have to get involved to try to stop or intervene in that. But beyond that, don't tear yourself up because, as like Marshall said, little Johnny won't sit down. Don't tear yourself up for that. Just say, okay, and then take that action. So just remember, follow the process like Marshall's describing. Yep.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly right. Yeah, that was my next point, was de-escalation. No, that's good. No, you're fine. That's great. I'd rather be coming from you. So, de-escalation is, what we want to go after there. We do not want to escalate a situation, because if you get in the back and forth with a kid, you're not going to win. Let's just be honest. If you start doing the yelling match and stuff like that, that's not the place for it. Use the tools that you've been given. follow the process, allow the process to work. Some of these kids, it may take several write-ups. You know, if they keep doing this, and I know it's hard to drive with them, they're distracting you, but keep talking, keep trying, move them up front. Now, let me say this about vaping real quick. Man, there's so much. Once you get talking about this stuff, it just gets crazy. But vaping is an issue that we've got just repeatedly over and over and over again, and it's grown and grown and grown and grown to a point that's, you know, just insurmountable. I mean, you just it's almost to the point we can't do a whole lot about it. Here's what I've learned by watching videos and dealing with these students who choose to vape. Two kinds of vapes for new ones. There's a nicotine vape and there's a THC vape, okay? The THC vape looks different than the nicotine vape and usually has a clear window in it of some form where you can see the liquid. That's probably going to be a THC vape. A THC vape, as we talked about yesterday, is handled using that process of sending them to day treatment, possibly charges, whatever else is going on. Nicotine vapes are handled in a lot different process. This restorative process is going to kick in on the vapes for that. So we still want to know if kids are vaping on your bus. If you suspect a vapor on your bus, let me know. We'll pull the camera, find it, and I've spent a lot of time watching camera videos, investigating and doing write-ups on vapes. Once I see it, I can write it up, okay? I don't really have to have the write-up from you on a vape. Once I see it, usually I can just go ahead and write it up. Kids are getting very, very good at hiding these things. They stick it in the sleeve, okay, and they, use it in their sleeve. This is an indicator. Holding their head down behind the seat. I just hit the thing. Holding their head down behind the seat, hiding like that, okay? Passing it. They're sharing these things over and over and over again. Just look, a lot of hand motions to the mouth is an indicator. If you see the kid and then you don't for a while, probably vaping, just let me know. Let Rob know. Yes, and girls put them in their, brassieres. That's where they hide them. And you say, I'm sorry.
Just an interesting point to you. Marshall and I both find more kids vaping while we're looking for another behavior. Okay? That's how much it's going on your buses. You're not aware of it. You're writing up a kid for something else. And as we're watching video, we're finding, not only is that going on, it's a vaping party going on back there. You've got 2, 3, and it's rarely just one. Rarely. I think Marshall will back me up on that. You've usually got a pod, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids that are vaping. Okay? So you got to be, and I know for us older drivers, this is all new, and like Marshall said, they're getting very, very creative. They're turning their backs. They know the cameras are there, and they're taking evasive action to get away from those cameras to where you can't see it as good. But just like what Marshall told you, take those indicators. If you see students doing that a lot, then you've probably got a vaping issue. And if you don't see them doing it, come to me or Marshall and say, hey, I think I've got some vaping going on. We can find out. That's one thing that Marshall and I have become near experts on is detecting vaping on a bus. And it's an epidemic. And I'll just reiterate, because I know we have teachers here today that we didn't have yesterday. The discipline on these vapes is going to look different. If it's a nicotine vape, in the past we have seen kids taken off the bus. That's not going to happen. I'll just tell you right now. The first offense, second offense, they're going to take care of that inside the school. The third offense may end up with a removal from the bus. That has nothing to do with me or Marshall on what we decide. That was a code of conduct decision, but it was also a decision because it is such a problem. Day treatment does not have the capacity to have every child that is caught vaping sent there. Okay, so this is a problem that we can help solve by being aware of what's going on our buses. Now, THC vapes, that's a whole different game, folks. Automatic charges, automatic, and it's automatic day treatment. So they're drawing a real hard line between a nicotine vape and a THC vape. So I just wanted to add that in for those that may not have heard that announcement yesterday.
Yes. No, thank you. Thank you, Rob. It takes both of us. Yeah, I mean, once you get started in this, it gets, and you know, if you've got questions about anything, come to my office, you know. There are times, come to Rob's office as well. Yeah, just ask. I mean, if you got questions. Now, I'll say this. You received a driver handbook, right? Everybody got one of these? Please don't just disregard those. I promise. This is our 9th edition. We have worked very hard to put in that book everything you need as a driver and for it to be a useful resource to you. Just about, not all of them, and obviously there's so much you can't put everything in the book, but there's a lot of questions that will be answered right there in that book if you'll just look at it. It's got a context, table of contents at the beginning. Look up the issue you're dealing with if you can. Go to that section, read it, and familiarize yourself with it, because I promise you it will help you if you do. So, you know, that's on the vaping. So it's difficult to stop, but I will say this. The buses that have reported vaping and had a big problem with it in the beginning of the year, it decreased towards the end of the year. And I'll say this also, and it's your bus. I mean, you know, we try to let you do your job how you need to do it, because everybody's different. I can't give you a magic bullet right here for you and everybody how you need to deal with your bus. That's up to you. All I know is that when I'm driving a bus, I have to be the leader. I've got to be the one setting the tone. I've got to be the one setting the atmosphere. I've got to be the one leading these kids, because you know for a fact that a lot of them just need attention. And I know that's no excuse, and we've said that over and over again, but it's the truth. And you can have a tremendous impact on a student's life. Forget about, you know, the bus and them just being a bus rider and a bus driver. You can impact somebody's life for good if you will, you know, talk to them. If you can, if they'll let you. They always won't let you, but if you can find an inroad, if you can find a way to find a key for that student, then use it and try to help them as much as you can. Let me say just a little bit more about write-ups, and then I'm gonna quickly move on and try to get out from behind this thing. So write up students consistently. If it's wrong today, it's wrong tomorrow. Don't write up students just out of frustration. Write them up because they broke the code of conduct. Don't put up with behavior that's breaking the code of conduct and then one day decide, I'm mad, I'm going to write them up. If they're breaking the code of conduct, they're breaking the code of conduct. Write them up for that after you have warned them. We have the warning books. Everybody know about the warning books, right? The 3 triplicate paper warning books. If you don't, come see me and I'll explain those to you and how the warnings work. Use the warnings, okay, especially at the beginning of the year. Put it on paper. If you don't write it down, it didn't happen. Remember, we've already talked about documentation already in separate places. So make sure you do that. Get a student. We have student code of conduct books for you at the bus garage. Pick one up. Familiarize yourself with, there's only one tiny section in there we need. It's the bus section for the most part. Read what those code of conduct is, and it'll help you understand the write-ups you need to write. All the write-ups come to me or Rob. You can put witness names on those write-ups, and that's the only place they're going to be put. I put them in Infinite Campus separately. Write down specific information. Don't just write down they acted up or they were disruptive. We need kind of specifics. If you have to kind of explain what happened, go ahead and do that. I don't mind to read. And write the situation out a little bit. Give us more than they acted up or they were disruptive or they distracted me. That's just too general, really, okay? We need a little bit more information. How did they distract you? How were they disruptive? How did they act up? What did they do? And where did it break the student code of conduct? Now, I'll say this about elementary schools and write-ups. They're reluctant to kick elementary student kids off the bus, okay? When you start getting into 4th and 5th grade, you see a little bit more of that, but they're reluctant to do that because they're trying to train them and teach them how to ride the bus. Your smaller students, your preschoolers, you're going to have to teach them. That's where the warnings come in real handy. You can take a preschool student, try to work with them, understand their age, understand where they're at, work with them, do the best that you can, but our job is to teach them how to drive the bus safely. So just be aware that the elementary schools are reluctant, but don't you be reluctant in turning in that write-up if that student needs it. If they're reluctant about, kicking them off the bus, that's one thing, but we don't need to be reluctant about putting a write-up in on an elementary student, even down to preschool, okay? Because some of those preschoolers could end up being special needs, and they use the write-ups to determine and to do an evaluation on that student to determine whether or not they need to be special needs, because all of their behavior at the school, if they're doing it on your bus in a real severe way, they're probably doing it at the school. And I could cite specific examples of behavior where this has actually happened and they were moved to special needs. It took a minute, but that's okay. Remember, we're working with these kids to try to help them. So if you write up a student, Rob and I are at least expecting, and this goes along with what we've talked about, we're at least expecting and assuming that you've talked to this student about their behavior. Now, once I've talked to a student about the behavior and I've made them aware and say, all right, I need you to do this, and you've been specific and you've talked to them and they still continue to do it, I like the element of surprise, especially with older students. I've told Johnny, he's in the 12th grade, 15 times to sit down. A 12th grader ought to know how to sit in a seat. However, he won't do it. So you know what I do? I write him up without telling him. And then he goes to the principal's office and he goes, "What'd you write me up for?" "Well, what do you think I wrote you up for?" "I wrote you up because you won't sit down." I've had students do that. Sometimes that works. But don't write them up without discussing their behavior with them, okay, initially. Just state the facts, and we need credibility, okay? Our credibility is everything when it comes to these administrators. You heard Tyler say, if you just write up, when we just get an onslaught of write-ups, sometimes it's an indicator of a driver who's not really willing to engage the students, okay? That's what happens. The write-up can't do your job for you. The write-up there is to make a report of student behavior, okay, that's going on, and a write-up to prove that you're actively doing your job. See, the write-up has several functions. It serves to get the student in front of the principal and take care of the behavior. It serves to show that you're doing your job. Hey, I'm actively engaged in leading my bus. And so I've written this kid up because of this behavior. You see what I'm saying? It also can get a kid in front of a principal who's having a problem at home. The whole reason he's acting out, maybe he's got an issue at home. Maybe there's a divorce going on in the home. Who knows what's going on in that kid's life and why he's acting that way? That's not for us to figure out. We just have to report what we see, and then it gets them in front of the principal where they can actually deal with all these issues, okay? If you don't see the behavior, and a kid comes and tells you about something that happened on the bus, please come and report that, okay? If a kid comes and tells you, information about something that may be going on at home, this is happening to me at home. Who knows? They like to talk sometimes. They need somebody to talk to. Come and tell me or Rob. Come report what they're telling you, even though you didn't see it. Just let us know if there's something serious, something detrimental, something that could concern the safety of that child. It could be bullying. It could be a million things. But, just report it, even if you didn't see it, and the principals can do the investigation. Now, I'm going to do this. Do I still have time? Am I good? Still yet? I was going to try to go about 11:30. Let's talk about bus stops. Now, this only affects a few of you. So it's going to affect Hunter Hills a lot, Mike Hall, David Ramsey, James Reed. It's going to affect Larry Finley, Steve King, and Dennis Wombles. Did I say Larry Finley? What did I say Larry Finley for? It's not going to affect Larry Finley. I don't know why I was thinking that. Anyways, Dennis Wombles, Steve King. But what we've done is, and this is kind of a new thing that we project that we did here, in students, and if you drive as a new driver and you are subbing on any of those routes that I mentioned, and I can identify them and help you with that, okay? It's really important for our subs. We've got an area in Hunter Hills down there. I think it's called, is it St. James Place now? I think they call it. Is that the one, Appaloosa Trail? Appaloosa Trail is what we used to call it. St. James Place down there. We had a stop down there where something like between 30 and 50 kids would get off at any given time on one stop, okay? When you have a kid that's under 12, it's impossible to track that student and make sure the parents are there. Parents are reluctant in these high-density population areas, mobile home parks, different places, to come out to pick their kids up. They're reluctant to do that, okay? So what we've done is we've put up bus stop signs around the mobile home parks and around these areas to designate where that bus stops. So when you drive into these places, you're going to see bus stop 1, a sign just like that. And you're going to have in your hand an assignment paper where a student is assigned to that bus stop. So when you're dropping off, you're going to know these are the students that should be getting off here. You're going to know their ages. You're going to have some information. And if they have a parent drop-off permission, okay, we have that information at dispatch there. Call in. If you don't know, I'll tell you if that kid has a drop-off information or not. As they come into us, we redo these every year. As they come into us, I'm going to try to communicate those to you so that you know on your bus which ones are able to be dropped off, okay? So I'm going to put it on a remind. I'm going to send it to you quickly. Write it down somewhere. Make a note by their name and know that they have a parent drop-off permission that allows a student under 12 to be dropped off without seeing a parent, okay? So the whole design, and you can read about that, is that kid now has an assigned stop. The parent is supposed to be at that bus stop sign to receive that child. Okay? Now this brings us to another issue that I'm hearing too from you, and it's rightly so. We've eliminated the emergency cards, the white emergency cards and the blue emergency cards, right? We've eliminated those. So if you have a student and a parent there that's new, or you don't know that person picking that student up, call into dispatch. We're going to use the school information in Infinite Campus to identify that parent. Now, hopefully, most of you came back this year. That's one reason why it's really good, because you're going to know your students and you're going to know who you're dropping off to, and that shouldn't be an issue for the most part. However, you're going to have new students. We have a few new drivers, and we'll have alternates, driving some of these routes. So if you're not sure who you're dropping off to, then you need to call into dispatch to do that. What's that going to do on the first, second, third, fourth day, fifth day? We're going to have a lot of radio traffic. We're going to start at South Middle Ramp, and then we're going to go around the horn, all the new students that are being dropped off to people we don't know. Okay, we know that. Rob is going to be at dispatch. I'm going to be at dispatch. Dee Dee's going to be at dispatch. Brittany's going to be at dispatch. Mark is going to be hanging around over there somewhere playing with the bus. And Chris is probably going to be there. We got a lot of help is what I'm trying to say. Take your time. Be respectful of the radio. Take your turn. It's hard to get in. I get it. Everybody's like, boom, 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 boom. Just take your time. We'll get to you. I try to prioritize it, try to get to you. If you've never done that, come try it sometime. Just come try it sometime. That's all I can say. You'll get a whole new respect for it. I certainly did when I started. So just try to be aware of the radio traffic. Listen before you speak on the radio. You don't have to yell. It's okay. We'll get it. Just take your time. Are we going to have a little bit longer days? Yeah, probably. And what else? There was something else, Rob, along with that. Radio, dropping off kids. Yeah, that's right. That's the other thing. So it's not a 403 until it's 403. So we're going to try to eliminate a little bit. I'm going to make a second attempt. Go ahead and make your second attempt. You don't have to radio that. But when you know you're taking that student back to the school, radio that in. At that point, it becomes a 403. Make your second attempt without radio on it, okay? Because we're going to try to reduce the radio traffic some. All right? We'll do our best with that. Yeah, it's fine to say you made a second attempt or going to make a second attempt. No. Yeah, when you radio in the 403, it's fine to say I've made 2 attempts. I'm going to take this student back to school. But don't radio in the second attempt at the beginning. How to ID a parent. Let me just talk about that a minute. So you don't have a card, what do? You find the student's name out. I've got Johnny Bus Rider here with me, and I need to ID his parent. That's all you got to say. I need an ID for Johnny Bus Rider's parents. I'm going to look that student up. Rob's going to look that student up. We're going to find the emergency card. It takes us a minute sometimes. So once I respond and say, go ahead with your information, that's when you'll transmit a picture ID. It has to be just like the school, a picture ID, and then you read off that number. I've got Johnny Bus Driver's mama, and her driver's license number is R whatever it is, okay? And then you transmit that number, and then we'll say that ID's valid. You can go ahead and release that student, okay? You've done this before, most of you. But I just want to go over that. Special needs is the same way. So if you're IDing somebody on special needs, we're going to transmit the student name. We're going to transmit the parent information, okay? It's okay to do that. We are not breaking any kind of confidentiality by saying student names or transmitting that information over the radio, okay? There is no confidentiality whatsoever that is being broken there, all right? Oh, boy. So let me say this. Let me go over this just for the new drivers if you're in here real quick. In the mornings, so you've taken off Thursday, and I need to get your route covered. I'm going to contact one of our alternate drivers. If you're an alternate driver in here, we've got a special remind that we send out to you to give you your driver assignment, preferably the day before. So alternate drivers, so once I find out there's an absence, I'm going to make preparations by assigning an alternate driver to that route. I'm going to print out route information for you, whatever goes along with that route. We'll come in and review that route on the computer. And if we have a chance, the ideal thing is to get you on that route with the driver to let you see the route before you actually drive it. It worked well last year because we don't want to just put you out there cold turkey driving around. We do have some district subs that are going to be able to do that. They've driven enough, they understand it, they can get out there and just drive any route. But for you as a new driver, we want to get you with the driver. So drivers, let me ask you this, okay? Let me ask this favor of you, and I know what I'm asking. But when you have a new driver on your bus and they're there to see your route, please let them drive and provide the instruction they need to get around that route, okay? They need the experience. They need the windshield time. That route is going to imprint on them, okay? When they drive that route, I promise you it's going to imprint. And somehow it works. I don't know how the brain works, but it does. When I drive a route, instead of just looking at one, I'll know that route when I'm done driving it good enough that I can start and finish pretty good. Maybe not perfect, but I can do it pretty good once I've seen it, okay? So please do us that favor and let them drive, if you will. All right. I think that's it. That's going to be it. Yes. Yes, thank you. That was the other thing I need to talk about. Seating charts. So you have an alternate driver that's going to be with you at some point because we got all new drivers, so we're going to be letting them ride with you on every route. Start your seating charts. Your seating charts will be due, okay, the 1st of September. The first full week of September on that Friday is when your seating charts will be due. Every month thereafter, the first full week of the month on that Friday, seating charts are due, okay? And we're going to need those even more now that we don't have emergency cards. We are required by federal law, the DOT regulations require us to have a ridership list on that bus. You keep a copy of it on your bus, and you give me a copy of it so that we can make a file of it in the office, okay? Couple of statistical things. So does everybody understand that about your seating charts? They are very, very important. We need them to be accurate. Once you make a seating chart out at the first of the year, let me just help you right here. Make a copy of that, and then the next time you fill it out, all you should do is make your additions and make your subtractions. Mark out the students that are gone, add the students that come on. Copy it and send it in. It's that simple. I promise. Once you make it out, you've kind of already licked it. Copy it, make your changes, put it in for the next month, okay? Leave a copy on your bus. Where was I going to go? Just jump track. Oh, I don't know what statistical things. So we had about between, it was 8,800, 9,000 students enrolled this past year, right? We transported about 3,500, okay? So that's really kind of where we're at as far as transporting last year went. We don't know what it's going to look like this year. We don't know if it's going to be up. We don't know if it's going to be down. Certain areas it'll be up, certain areas it'll be down. That's how it always works, okay? We just don't know. So we're going to hold off on making any kind of changes, any kind of adjustments to routes until we see what's going on with the ridership numbers on your bus. That's why we need your seating charts. We need to see how many you have, what adjustments we need to make on a route. Now, please don't bloviate your seating charts, okay? Don't just keep adding students and never take any off. Okay, you can't have 105 kids riding your bus. We don't have a bus that big nowhere. I promise we don't. I've checked it. We just don't. They just don't work that way. So please give us some accurate information. Manage them just like you would anything else. Write-ups. I wanted to give you this statistic really quick. So our write-ups actually didn't increase that much this year, even concerning the vaping that we had. It increased some, but not that much. There were 548 write-ups in the north, and there was 819 write-ups in the south, which makes a total of 1,367 write-ups, which is about where we were before we had cameras and write-ups. So, for whatever reason, it is what it is. And those are some. Does anybody have any questions? I need to quit real bad. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, come see me or Rob. And this week we'll be here all week. And we got 3 days. Go ahead, Brad.
Mark will cover that.
Yeah, Mark is going to cover that. He's next. And he's going to tell you, but we got 3 days to do what we need to do. I appreciate you guys more than you know. And I really appreciate you being patient with me. Because sometimes I've got a lot of stuff going on at the moment, and we come in, and you've seen me. You know, there's smoke coming out my ears, my face is red, and I'm jumping up and down in the corner, and Rob has to say, it'll be all right, it'll be all right. Linda, did you have something? Yeah, so yes, so if none of the routes have been changed, okay? They're all the same. As far as new students getting on the bus, we don't know. Here's why. There's some kind of state mandate that will not allow Infinite Campus to be opened up until the first day of school. So we don't know what the enrollments are. We don't know who the new students are. We don't have privy to that information until the first day. So again, that's where your seating chart plays a big important role. Get their names when they start getting on the bus. Start writing those down, and you'll figure out who the new students are. And that's the best I got, because we don't have the information either. So we would like to see that change and have asked for it, but I think it's a state mandated thing and we're not able to change it. Okay? Anybody else? All right, I'm going to turn it back over here to our illustrious leader.